Odyssey, Book 3, concluded. Lines 48 to the end. Pisistratus and Telemachus get ready to go, but first they banquet with Nestor and all his family. The rosy-fingered morn no sooner shone, but up he rose, took air, and sat upon a seat of white and goodly polished stone, with such a gloss as richest ointments wore, before his high gates, where the counsellor that matched the gods, his father, used to sit, who now by fate forced stooped as low as it, and here sat Nestor, holding in his hand a sceptre, and about him round did stand, as early up his son's troop, Perseus, the godlike Thrasimede, and Aratus, Echephron, Stratius, and sixth and last Pisistratus, and by him half embraced still as they came, divine Telemachus. To these spake Nestor, old Gerenius, haste, loved sons, and do me a desire, that first of all the gods I may aspire to Pallas' favour, who vouchsafed to me at Neptune's feast her sight so openly. Let one to field go, and an ox with speed cause hither brought, which the herdsmen lead. Another to my dear guest vessel go, and all his soldiers bring, save only two. A third, the smith that works in gold, command Laertius to attend, and lend his hand, to plate the both horns round about with gold. The rest remain here close. But first see told the maids within that they prepare a feast, set seats through all the court, see straight address the purest water, and get fuel felled. This said, not one but in the service held a fish's hand. The ox came led from field, the soldiers trooped from ship. The smith he came, and those tools brought that served the actual frame his art conceived, brought anvil, hammers brought, fair tongs, and all with which the gold was wrought. Minerva likewise came to set the crown on that kind sacrifice, and make it her own. Then the old knight Nestor gave the smith the gold, with which he straight did both the horns enfold, and trimmed the offering so the goddess joyed, about which thus were Nestor's sons employed. Divine Echephron and fair Stratius held both the horns, the water odorous in which they washed. What to the rites was vowed, Aratus in a cauldron all bestowed with herbs and flowers, served in from the holy room where all were dressed, and whence the rites must come. And after him a hallowed virgin came, that brought the barley cake and blew the flame. The axe with which the ox should both be felled and cut forth, Thrasimede stood by and held. Perseus the vessel held that should retain the purple liquor of the offering slain. Then washed the pious father, then the cake of barley, salt, and oil made, took and brake, and asked many a boon of Pallas, and the state of all the offering did initiate, in 3 parts cutting off the hair, and cast amidst the flame. All the invocation passed, and all the cake broke, manly Thrasimede stood near, and sure and such a blow he laid aloft the offering, that to earth he sunk, his neck nerve sundered, and his spirit shrunk. Out shrieked the daughters-in-laws, and wife of 3-aged Nestor, who had eldest life of Clymen's daughters, chaste Eurydice. The ox on broad earth then lay laterally they held, while Duke Pisistratus the throat dissolved, and set the sable blood afloat, and then the life the bones left. Instantly they cut him up, apart flew either thigh, that with the fat they dubbed with art alone, the throat brisk, and the sweetbread pricking on. Then Nestor broiled them on the coal-turned wood, poured the black wine on, and by him young men stood, that spits fine pointed held, on which, when burned, the solid thighs were, they transfixed, and turned the innards, cut in canties, which the meat vowed to the gods consumed, they roast and eat. In mean space, Polycaste, called the fair, Nestor's youngest daughter, bathed Ulysses' heir, whom having cleansed and with rich balms bespread, she cast a white shirt quickly o'er his head, and then his weeds put on, when forth he went, and did the person of a god present, came, and by Nestor took his honored seat, the pastor of the people. Then the meat of all the spare parts roasted, off they drew, sat and fell to. But soon the temperate few rose, and in golden bowls filled others' wines. till, when the rest fell thirst of feast decline, Nestor his sons bade fetch his high-maned horse, and them in chariot join, to run the course the prince resolved. Obeyed, as soon as heard, was Nestor by his sons, who straight prepared both horse and chariot. She that kept the store, both bread and wine, and all such viands more, as should the feast of Jove kings compose, pervade the voyage. To the rich coach rose Ulysses' son, and close to him ascended the Duke Pisistratus, the reins intended, and scourged to force the field, who freely flew, and left the town that far her splendor threw, both holding yoke and shook it all the day. But now the sun set, darkening every way, when they to Pharis came, and in the house of Diocles, the son Torsilicus, whom flood Alpheus got, slept all that night, who gave them each due hospitable right. But when rosy-fingered morn arose, they went to coach, and did their horse enclose, drave forth the forecourt, and the porches that yields each breath a sound, and to fruitful fields rode scourging still their willing flying steeds, who strenuously performed their wonted speeds, their journey ending just when sun went down, and shadows always to the earth were thrown.